It has arrived. This video is going to be an unboxing, overview, comparison of the Leatherman Wave Alpha. Alright, let's unbox this. I already did, but I put it back in so you can have the whole experience. Alright, so there it is in all its glory. And if you don't have this and do not intend to get it, you can definitely tell us why. I've heard a lot of people say that they already have the Surge and that they're just going to stick with the Surge, right? Because it already has big scissors and, you know, they just feel like they don't need to spend that much. That's a perfectly valid way to go. I like my Surge and my, I got a Super Tool, right? Got a Super Tool 300 right here that I've been using for a long time. I do think the MagnaCut is a step in the right direction. The pricing might not be, but that can be changed over time. So the first thing I notice is that the one-handed opening worked smoothly. It's got a lock right there. It's like a liner lock. Notice how far back they've taken that relief grind. That's the grind that's what people would call the actual edge. That's a good thing. I mean, it's going to slice through. Now the shape we have here, bevel, right? That's flat to the bevel. This could be called a reverse tanto, but it could also be called a modified sheep's foot. The advantages of this blade shape, that curve will make it slice a bit better, but that point, if you angle it this way, now you have drawing type cuts and just general precision with that tip. Alright, now over here we have, it's a little tighter, we have a wood saw, good for stop cuts, woodworking. On this side we have a file, right, and it's three-sided, right, a rough surface here, teeth there, right, crosshatch, and also you can scrape with the top, so that could be called a four-sided by some. The scissors, which you can open one-handed like that. The pliers, right, the needle nose part, the wider grip part, and the replaceable wire cutters, hard and soft. Now this is not spring-loaded, right? Not spring-loaded. Hold on, let me lock this. It's a little stiff out of the box, but alright, so those are the pliers. Now, let's break into these. Let's splay them out. So what do we got? Well, we have a large screwdriver, could also pry with this. We have a lanyard hole. We have a reamer awl. And we have a micro screwdriver, which this is double-sided. The other side, there's only two tools, but many functions. We have the combo opener, which is can opener, bottle opener, and it has a wire stripping notch. Alright, hear that freight train? I don't know if you can hear that. And we've got a bit exchanger, double-sided bit, and I do have the bit kit and extender that Leatherman sells for that. Now I have here previous edition of the Wave, so let's look at one of the first major changes. The blade. At the plain edge blade. This is MagnaCut. MagnaCut is a CPM steel. MagnaCut is a CPM steel, and it just has an impressive array of qualities. Edge retention. It's one of the hottest premium steels going. People have been asking for better steels for the knife blade on Multitools for years and years now, and they've finally done it. If they hadn't done it, someone else would have. Right? So, the steel upgrade, it's a good idea. They've also changed the shape of the blade. Which one do you like better? I think they are both quite attractive. this has, with the forward tip on this, it has more utility knife type ability. Alright, but yeah, that's the difference. But there's another big difference, right? Because this Wave has two blades. It has the serrated blade. This one does not. This has no serrated blade. In that slot, they've put the scissors, the big scissors, and they give you no serrated blade. Oh, can I sign off on that? What do I think about that? I think it's an intelligent move, and I'll tell you why. Because most people I know that need a serrated blade, like rescue personnel, for example, they don't rely on the blade on their multi-tool. They need a larger blade, right? Either a folder or a fixed, right? Because, for example, my Bird Cara 2 fully serrated is just a monster cutter compared to a multi-tool serrated blade, even a good one. Another major change. In place of that serrated blade, they gave you these scissors. Previously, the Wave was infamous for having little mini scissors like this. Bigger, better scissors with one-handed deployment. So implements which have not changed, well, you still have the combo opener, the bit exchangers, and the large flathead or prying tool. So those are all still the same. I feel like the most controversial one would be the micro, right? The micro driver. And then what would you do with that slot? Well, most likely if that slot was removed, you would replace it with a package opener, right? Because this is really a very complete tool set on this new Wave. Right? The only things it's missing are serrated blade and perhaps a package opener. Not really a must-have tool, but the package opener has been becoming a lot more popular in recent years, just because with the rise of nuisance packaging, where you really have to cut through the frickin' packaging, a package opener can be useful, especially for not damaging your stuff. Some minor changes, like with this, you see the blade sticks out from the handle like that, right? It's proud of the handle, as they say. It sticks out. Whereas with this, because it uses a thumb stud instead of a slot, it doesn't really stick out, right? And even those slots don't stick out much, but you can still get at them because look how much they cut out here just so you could get at those, right? Now, this has G10 scales, which do add some thickness. Notice they are textured and they are terraced and come in different colors. This did not have scales, so the effect, these scales are make it a little bit thicker like that. But that might be a good thing, because before, if you had really big hands, you might not even get the Wave. You might get like something larger, like the Surge or Super Tool. Now, if you have big hands, this might fit you better. Another big addition, the reamer awl. The old version of the Wave did not have that, and a lot of people, well, if you do woodworking or leatherworking, you might have missed the reamer awl. So this has one. Looks pretty wicked. All right, chisel cut as a reamer would be. So it's a puncturing tool and also a drilling tool. And you can sew with it in a fashion as well with that sewing hole. I mean, let's just do a thin one first. That was easy. Now let's do the whole thing. 3-strand cable wire. And it went through that like butter. So wire cutters, good. I mean, these don't work as good as Victorinox, no doubt, but Basically, if you kind of push it that way and you work through, it will cut through. All right, sorry. This is my offhand, by the way, so just factor in. All right, getting used to the scissors. Work your way through. So the old paracord test. Are these working as well as the Victorinox? Not really, but. All right, so those are the scissors, and I'm sure once I get used to them, probably work better. But those were the scissors. Yeah, they can do the paracord. It's not like Victorinox where it just massacres the paracord with either hand. Victorinox will do that. But that's the scissors. Let's check out the MagnaCut. So if I hold it at a more extreme angle, there we go. Alright, so basically if you hold it like this and go through, it will pass the paper test very well. Alright, so you might need to hone this thing a little bit, like with a ceramic rod or something like that. But out of the box, the sharpness, it was like a B+, okay? You hone it a little bit, it'll go up to an A. Now let's talk about what everyone really wants to talk about. The price. The price of multi-tools. So this was going for $200 on Amazon. I'll include a link below the video, US Amazon. And a lot of people are not liking the higher prices from Leatherman with this and with the Leatherman Arc. Right? Well, first of all, I don't work for Leatherman, and I purchased this myself. It wasn't like sent to me, unfortunately. So I'm right there with you. Did I enjoy paying $200 for this? Not really. I've been collecting Leathermans since I was a teenager, and I'm 51 years old. So it's kind of like, well, geez, why stop now? I mean, you only live once, right? So, you know, I bought this partly because of the collector factor and partly because I'm a gear reviewer, so YouTube is going to compensate me in some capacity. I don't know how much this video will make. Not that much, but still. I kind of see where they're getting the price. But having said that, a $200 multi-tool is no longer really targeting the blue-collar working class. They are targeting some of those people, but I think they're targeting a socioeconomic class above that class. Just like a lot of knife companies like Benchmade are. They're not targeting, my neighbor who's a contractor who was in the Marines and he was a fireman. They're not targeting him. They're targeting my other neighbor who, he's like a lawyer that commutes to a big city, and maybe he needs a multi-tool to fix his cabinet, right? So it is what it is. This is not a must-have. If you're on a budget, just buy one of the... You can get a perfectly good multi-tool for $50, right? So I hope you enjoyed the video. And subscribe if you enjoy stuff like this. And mainly I do knife reviews, but also multi-tools, air guns, flashlights, swords, all kinds of things. All right, this has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.